In the quiet countryside of Port St. Lucie, Florida, a gruesome discovery shattered the calm energy on August 24th, 2018. This was as a passerby drove through a wooded area and saw something along the roadside. Something really attention-catching. The cops were called, and deputies soon confirmed the worst. The body of a dead person had been found on this rural road. This body was transported to the District 19 Medical Examiner's office in Fort Pierce. Through DNA testing, investigators identified the dead person as 23-year-old Tania Wise. Tania had a belly, not from eating too much, but she was pregnant. She had an unborn baby inside her at the time of her death. The office's staff ruled her death as a murder. They stated that she had been strangled to death and suffered blunt force trauma to the head as well as her neck. The lack of oxygen not only killed Tania, but it also suffocated and killed her unborn baby fairly quickly. This was now a double murder investigation. Detectives began canvassing the area where the body was found. Witnesses reported seeing a truck matching one owned by Jose Soto-Escalera near Tania Wise's home, and later near the location where her body was found. Investigators soon determined that Jose Soto-Escalera was Tania Wise's romantic partner. DNA evidence confirmed that he was the biological father of the unborn baby. As evidence mounted, digital forensics added another layer. Investigators found internet searches of Soto-Escalera's devices, including phrases like dead body in the woods. Prosecutors would later argue this showed consciousness of guilt. Cell phone data placed Soto-Escalera in the vicinity of Tania during the critical window surrounding her disappearance and death. A witness also provided key insight into their relationship. According to investigators, the couple had been arguing over money and the decision to get an abortion. Soto-Escalera wanted Tania to terminate the pregnancy by doing an abortion and even gave her money to do so. But Tania refused. That refusal, according to investigators, escalated into an already volatile situation. The investigators concluded that conflict over this pregnancy led to violence, deadly violence, and they believe Soto-Escalera went too far, killing Tania during the dispute. Notably, he chose not to arrange a funeral for her. Instead, the Haley Funeral Home of Fort Pierce handled a burial without a service. Tania Wise was laid to rest at the Rolling Oak Cemetery in Port St. Lucie. In September 2018, law enforcement tracked Soto-Escalera to a car wash in Port St. Lucie. He was preparing to go to work after having his car washed, the outside part. And that was when deputies moved in. He was arrested and taken to the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office headquarters. During questioning, Soto-Escalera denied any involvement with Tania Wise's death. Shortly after, he made his first court appearance at the St. Lucie County Circuit Court before Judge Janet Krim. The judge ordered that he be held behind bars without bond at the St. Lucie County Jail where he had spent his first night. Assistant State Attorney Jeffrey Hendricks announced 2 counts of second-degree murder, 1 for killing Tania Wise and 1 for causing the death of the unborn baby. The court appointed state-funded private defense attorney Leonard Villafranco who submitted not guilty pleas to the court on Soto-Escalera's behalf. Prosecutor Hendricks was not satisfied with the initial charges. He withdrew the 2 second-degree murder counts and instead presented the case to a grand jury at the court in order to have more severe charges be included. That grand jury returned a far more severe outcome: an indictment, 2 counts of capital first-degree murder. Hendricks unsealed the indictment and announced that the death penalty would be sought. On December 20th, 2018, Soto-Escalera pleaded not guilty to the new charges before Judge Stephen Levin. At that point, Hendricks stepped aside and left the case. It was handed over to a more experienced prosecution team: Thomas Backendall, Donald Richardson, and Justin Cormier. Soto-Escalera also changed legal strategy. He parted ways with his state-funded attorney and hired Tom Burns and Ashley Minton as a private defense counsel. The case finally went to trial in September 2025. After the prosecution rested, Judge Lawrence Merriman denied a defense motion for acquittal. Before closing arguments, that judge also refused to restart the trial, rejecting defense objections. On the 19th day of that month, a jury of 12 members plus 4 alternates returned a verdict: guilty on both counts. On September 25th, Judge Merriman again denied defense efforts, this time to restart the penalty phase in order to decide whether Soto-Escalera would be sentenced to death or not. That same day, the jury issued its recommendation: death. This was by an 8-4 vote. 8 in favor of sending him to death row and 4 against it. Following a Spencer hearing on October 6, Judge Merriman formally imposed and confirmed the death sentence: 2 consecutive death sentences on both counts. The sentence was officially delivered on October 10th. Soto-Escalera has appealed his convictions and his sentence to the Florida Supreme Court. The appeal remains pending. Thank you for listening to this episode of Strawberry Ink. It is such a tragic story. Till next time, take care, stay safe, and have a good rest of your day.